All right, welcome. This is Life Officer reporting here. Today here, I have someone who I've been watching his channel for about 4 years now. Has been started out in baseball, but really has got into one of my favorite hockey channels to cover. We have Nathan Murdock here today. Grav, welcome to the stream.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. It'll be a ton of fun, and I think it'll be fun to talk with you, and we'll see how it goes. We'll have a good time.
Yeah. So I obviously saw like your first few videos were basically kind of Steve Dangle style videos on the Texas Rangers. So what exactly inspired you to start doing that and get started with specifically baseball first?
Well, it was interesting because for me, baseball was like the number one growing up, like as a kid, and it was kind of one of those points where hockey was kind of diverging into my number one thing, but it hadn't quite gotten there yet. It was like on the upswing. So by the time I started my channel, baseball was still, I would say, my priority there and still what I was watching the most. But as things kind of intersected, I, of course, did baseball to start things out, and Steve, of course, was a great inspiration to me to do that. But it was one of those things where baseball was kind of declining in terms of my interest, and the Rangers were kind of booty around that time in ways. So it
Oh
was
my gosh, they're so bad. Late 2010s and early 2020s.
yeah.
Jeez.
It was not the greatest time, and they just weren't really all that much fun, to be honest with you. Like it wasn't. It was something where I found a good rhythm doing it like every series I would cover instead of every game. That would have been
Yeah,
the worst
because
thing of all
if
time.
you're doing it every game for baseball, that's like 162 games. So
Yeah,
that's way too
I
many.
couldn't I couldn't do that to myself. I couldn't. I mean, I would like doing it, but it would feel like more of an obligation if I was doing it that way.
Yeah.
By the time, especially like 2017, 2018 hit, hockey was really becoming much more of an interest for me. And at that time too, even though the Stars weren't the greatest in the world, it was just a lot more intriguing to me to do it that way. But baseball has always been a sport I've enjoyed watching, always been a sport that I've been very into, as you know. So it's one of those things where just over time, hockey naturally became my favorite, but I'll always have that soft spot for baseball, and it's the reason I started in the first place. I just wanted to yap about sports, whether it was about hockey or not, and I was able to find a good outlet to do that. Then transition onto hockey once I was ready to talk about that a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start somewhere, right? I
Exactly.
don't know. I think my first video was a stream. I think 2022 week one between the Broncos and the Seahawks,
Hmm.
and it was just really bad. Like I started the stream late. I left a bunch of periods, so I missed like a couple fumbles from the Broncos.
Right. I mean, that's how I
Um,
always my number one thing is start as soon as possible, and I'm thankful that I did because I started when I was like 14 or something, and
yeah, you
it
started pretty early.
yeah, but it really builds a lot of character that way because you get rid of all the mistakes early on. You get rid of all the things that you kind of have to work for and work towards. Like people, I mean, the common misconception is that, oh, I'm gonna start exactly when I'm ready and when I'm perfect and everything is sharp and everything, and that just never really happens. Like even the people that have great videos as their first video, usually that's like a second channel that they put up or a different endeavor, or they've been doing it for a long time and pivoted in a different way. Like nobody's first actual video is ever really that good. Nobody's first 100 or even 1,000 videos are ever fantastic, especially if you're doing it like me and it's like every day and stuff like that. But that type of
Mhm.
route that I took where you get through the early parts, you get through the awkwardness, you get through just like those small mistakes that you might make, it makes it a lot easier to then get better afterwards. And that's my main thing is like if anybody out there is wondering what they want to do or has interest in something and loves to yap like me, like just start. Just do it right now. Do it right after this video that you're watching. There's no better time to start than the present for anything really, but especially for YouTube where like it doesn't matter, especially nowadays, how perfect it is because YouTube has become so good at suggesting stuff to people. I have so many videos that get recommended to me constantly that have like 2 views or like 5 views or like 10 views now. Like
Yeah,
compared to like
same here.
5 years ago, I feel like that wasn't really the case. But I think YouTube has done a lot better of a job of like bringing up newer creators, and it's allowed everybody to have a much bigger chance. So I think that's something that is kind of maybe not talked about as much that maybe should be talked about, but I think that
Mhm.
type of that type of start for everybody. It's obviously nerve-wracking, it's gonna be awkward, it's not gonna be pretty, but it always is better in the end, and you always get better for it. It's never gonna be, again, perfect video right out of the gate. It's always gonna be work in progress, but I'm glad that I had a I'm still a work in progress now. You never really get perfect.
I mean, 22 or 23, you're still learning a lot about life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing too is that you're learning constantly about YouTube and just social media in general and how to navigate it. So it's not something that'll ever get like perfected, which might be scary to some, but in a way like that's kind of beautiful because you are always having the chance to get better and always having the chance to improve.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head there, and it actually you kind of answered a few questions I was going to ask later. In particular, one of them was like, what made you, what made you like, what made you decide like I want to switch from baseball to hockey? Which is like, of course, you did basically kind of the baseball version of Steve Dangets with grab gaffs, and I forget
Mhm.
what the other series was called for like your version of Steve's hat picks when you
Right,
were
right.
on Sportsnet.
Yeah, I can't remember
Um,
either, on the top of my head, but yeah, that was, like, a ton of fun because it was kinda going back to my roots a bit there. But yeah, to answer your question maybe a bit more detailed in terms of the hockey, obviously, that became more of my priority, but, at the start, of course, I was doing Stars stuff and naturally just, drifted more to, like, the general NHL content, and the thing is, like, I still watch the bulk of Stars games, like, I'm not a Stars fan, obviously, but
yeah,
I think it's been I've always too, even in the case with my baseball days, I always was just so fascinated by the league in its entirety. I was always just like so intrigued by what was next, what was going to happen, what next event was going to shake up the entire league. And that's translated onto the NHL. Because even though I don't talk about the Stars a ton, when I do, I still am very passionate about it. And but what I
mhm,
do get the most enjoyment out of is being able to cover things that don't get talked about a lot. Like one of the biggest things that especially when I started was not even a factor at all on hockey YouTube was like draft content and going into prospects and talking about stuff that is a lot harder to find and actually get info on. And
yeah.
that's one
I
of
was
the
gonna
things that I've
say like
enjoyed talking about the most. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I'm not that great with looking at hockey prospects. Like, the most I got from that was like watching. Of course, this is from after the draft happened.
Hmm.
Was like call was like the called out series that Bar Down did. I think it was
Right.
I think it might have been 2022 when they had Bedard and Brant Clark. You know those type of guys. Like
Hmm.
McTavish is in that video too.
Yeah. The
Um,
World Junior stuff. I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Those are
which
fun.
I
Those are
always
fun for
enjoyed
sure.
those. Yeah, I always enjoyed those. It was probably brought a lot more personality than most.
Right. I mean, that's the thing
'Cause
too, is that there's just not a lot of people, talking about those personalities. Cause like that's the biggest thing to me is that I've always enjoyed what's next, what's going to be the future of the league. And to be able to talk about those players before they're even in the NHL, I think it's just really special because you get to see players who will eventually be stars in the league will be talked about uh, for millennia before they're
Mhm.
even thought about by most people. The fact that I have the ability to watch guys from all over the place now and see how they'll progress and see what could go wrong, what can go right and see what goes into that. Like that's just one of the most interesting parts about hockey, especially because it is such a random, such a crazy sport, such a chaotic sport. And that almost feeds into the chaos on the prospect side because there's every single year there's going to be so many prospects that I'm right, so many prospects that I'm wrong about, but that's almost the fun part. I love seeing how everything turns out, how
Yeah, that's
yeah, that and just how
that's the
everything
crapshoot of the draft.
yeah, I mean, how seeing how everything just shakes out in the end is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I feel like kind of the similar way with like I in particular the one draft that I do a lot of stuff talking with is NFL stuff. Of
Mhm.
course, it helps when my two favorite YouTubers that I watch mainly do NFL content, Jordan
Right,
Anderson
right,
and
right.
Tom Grossi.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was interesting. Speaking of the NHL draft, obviously I during that draft stream, Tom Grossi said hello in the
Right,
last
right,
one.
right.
It was interesting because I didn't mention it back then, but I have to say this here. I did suggest the video, but I wasn't the one pushing the hardest for it. I have to give a shout out to him. Luke, the Birchwood Vampire on YouTube. He lobbied to Tom for a solid like 10 to 15 minutes I first suggested.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he's like, "You want this person? Let's rate this person." And it was rated just as the Kraken on the Clock, which that is his favorite team.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Yeah,
that was
you got the
nice.
connection
So
there then with the Kraken, that's really fun. I didn't even know he was
yeah,
a Kraken fan,
and
so that's awesome.
yeah, it's interesting because yeah, I think he says like because there's like a relatively new team and there's like this really cute plushie
Fair,
that he
fair.
saw online. Um, I don't. I It's funny because he has like a little cracking call too. I can't imitate it well, but he basically does like a higher pitched turkey noise and with the tentacle arm move.
I mean, that, like
I should find a video of that and send it to
mhm.
you because it's hilarious.
I would be so there for that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a way better story than, "Oh, I just lived in Seattle and liked the Kraken." Like, obviously,
Yeah,
that's still okay, but I think that's those type of stories where you're just like, "I just like them. I just like them for this weird little" like, that's why, the only reason I love the Guelph Storm of the OHL the most of all the OHL teams is because I just thought their logo was pretty cool, and then that's it. Like, that's all I
yeah,
needed, and I was good to go.
yeah. It's funny that they say a cool story because Tom giving a Packers fan is lawyer because his dad try to raise him as a Cowboys fan in New York, and one day at school in '97, he heard that the Packers had crushed the Cowboys like 45-17. Mind you, Tom is about 6 or 7 years old at the time,
Right.
and he went back home and told us, "I was like, hey, I heard the Cowboys got crushed by the Packers. I'm a Packers fan now," and he stayed that way ever since.
That's so disrespectful, but I have as a Cowboys fan, I have to admire
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
He's
geez.
had a much more
I
fun last 30 years than I would have had, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, the I seriously don't know what you do if you're the Cowboys, but
I
it's
don't know
not
either.
much because
We just
yeah,
have to wait
'cause
for that entire management group to to go from
leave.
this life before anything changes.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. I know Therese referred to Jerry Jones as Palpatine. He's not that anymore. He's Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm,
Where
I could see it.
basically he's yeah, he's still the richest and meanest in town, but in reality he's just nothing but a warped, frustrated old man.
Yeah, it's just like, you just laugh at him in the corner like, "Oh, you get out of here, old man. Like, please just leave us alone at a certain point." Like,
Yeah.
we need just I just fast forward like 10 years ahead, and then I'll start being an actual Cowboys fan again.
It's gonna be interesting for you living in Wisconsin if that's still the case.
So that's I have a I would like that's the thing. I'm not even like the biggest football guy in the world. So I say I'm a Cowboys fan, but it's not like I'm watching every single game, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
kinda like the same way that you know, Tom is a little bit of a Brewers fan. He's not too into baseball, though he's gotten more into it. Of course, it helps when the Brewers are really good.
right, right, right.
Uh,
That's the funny
um,
thing is that I have I'm not even the biggest Cowboys fan, but I have one of my credit cards has like a Cowboys logo on it. So whenever I pull it out, whenever I pull it out around here, I'm like, ooh, gotta like hide the top, like.
yeah, yeah, just try to hide it as if there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the funny part
Yeah,
about Madison, at least, is that there's actually a lot of Chicago transplants. So I actually get more Go Bears than I do Go
yeah,
Packers in those
yeah,
situations, which is
yeah.
funny.
There are a lot of I do know a few people that are both Packers and Blackhawks fans. But anyway,
Right.
transitioning back to hockey. Uh, Blue Jackets just fired Dean Evison and replaced him with Rick Bowness. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Bonus as a former Stars coach, I'm fascinated that he is still kicking, that he's still being there in an NHL
He's been
position.
in
I mean,
business for a long
he
time.
he retired what it seemed like after the Winnipeg gig, but the quotes since he was hired by Columbus seemed to indicate that he was just still in it. Like he's still waiting for that call. You know, like he kind of thought that his time was over with Winnipeg, but felt like it maybe wasn't the greatest ending in the world, which I can understand for sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
Columbus is a
mhm,
strange organization, man. They they fire somebody that brought them a lot of success last year, and I get that this season obviously hasn't gone well, but I just look at that roster and I'm like, what were you really expecting?
yeah. I mean,
what was the hope?
especially after what's happened to the Blue Jays, like they cannot catch a break.
Hmm.
Like
It's really bad.
obviously. Yeah, I mean the Matisse situation and then Gaudreau passing, which I still remember just being an absolute shock.
Right.
And like my first introduction to your channel was that Stars Flame series.
Oh,
And of
right,
course,
right.
Gaudreau buried the game winner in game
Yep,
seven. Of
yep.
course, I'm sure was standing on his head the entire series.
Insane. Best hockey he's ever played for sure.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that I think for Columbus, they're a team that I desperately want to see be better than they are. But I kind of predicted like last year they were on like this absolute heater, and I feel like that wasn't going to quite be replicated this season, especially with again the goaltending still being a question for me year after year after year after year. Though the defense has really been just poor the entire way. It's just strange to me
When your
though.
headliner
I was gonna say that
when
at least for me, one of the weirder parts about this is that I feel like they could have really gone for a coach that's a bit more forward thinking because a lot of the I think struggles of the team have kind of been the lack of the younger players taking those bigger steps. Guys like Adam Fantilli, Kent Johnson, they've kind of been in these no man lands a bit. Fantilli is doing okay considering things, but they go after Rick Bonus, who had his moments, but I think generally was kind of inconsistent with the younger players, especially in terms of the ice time. And I just don't really Columbus is just a team that, in terms of the identity, I just don't really understand because they try to go a lot bigger, a lot more forceful with their play, but they don't really have a lot of the dogs to make that work, especially on the forward group. And I think just in a lot of ways are kind of a bit flawed in terms of the roster construction. So to change the coach, sure, whatever. I think it might make them marginally better, but considering how insane that Eastern Conference is, I don't think it'll make that big of a difference.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but I just got a huge news notification and relating to Tree. Mike Tomlin just resigned.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy to
it's
actually hear.
yeah. I mean, he's been there since 2007, and it's interesting because like both the Ravens and the Steelers are now finding new coaches, and I think they're the last two teams that have been coaching the same team since I started watching football,
That's
watching sports
crazy.
in general, which is about 2010, 2011 ish.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Long time, man. That's
anyway,
wild. That'll be
yeah,
like the same thing as if like John Cooper ends up getting fired by Tampa Bay or something. Like that same similar
yeah,
type of level in terms of
yeah. I don't think.
longevity.
Yeah, of course, Cooper's not going to get fired considering that Tampa's been doing pretty good this year.
Not anytime soon. Right,
Yeah, no. Anyways, obviously, I want to get to the team that I cheer for, the Kraken.
right, right.
Obviously, you did a video recently about that, and it's just I counted in the video. They are the definition of Pierre Dorian Simmons' quote of "we're a team." Like,
Mhm.
I just don't know what exactly they're doing. Obviously, they've been on a bit of a heater recently.
Right.
Of course, they came back to beat the Rangers at MSG. Of course, the Rangers have been they've been up a rut themselves, which we can get into that later. But what are your honest thoughts on the Kraken this year?
It's been interesting because I mean in terms of their actual play, I think it's obviously been a bit of a roller coaster. A lot of it just depends on how those younger players are going and what they can have in terms of the goaltending. Because like you said, Decord has always kind of been rock solid underneath, not amazing totals, but has always kind of put the team on his back in multiple points for the last couple of years. And that's kind of stayed true throughout this season. I mean, he hasn't been maybe as good as last year, but still pretty similarly.
Yeah. Of
And
course,
the
it
thing,
helps when you have Grubauer performing well, which
right.
like, hey, it's like now
Finally.
he's actually performing up to what his contract's worth.
Yeah.
Yay!
It took a few years, but he's getting there. He's getting there. I think in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, Seattle's just a weird one because I want them to be more entertaining than they are. Like they're a team that I like a lot of the players individually, but I just feel like that system is a bit draining at times, though of course they've been rock solid as of late. But I think a lot of that is kind of due to the goaltending and how they've kind of been able to win those close games, and that's obviously kudos to them and how they've been able to solidify themselves, get a little bit more mature, get a little bit more refined in those last few moments of those games. But I think in a lot of ways they're still a team that I kind of question the direction with. Though we have seen players like Benier Shane Wright, especially recently, look a lot better, which I am very, very happy about. I just think
Yes.
they're a team that I really desperately want to see just bring a bit more punch, bring a bit more intensity. They've gotten to that a bit
Yeah.
more lately, but I think again a lot of that success has been goaltending. But hey, if they're able to somehow sneak in and then ride that wave into some more future success, then I'll be all here for it. I just kind of have some doubts
Yeah.
over how projectable that is, really.
Yeah. I mean, they've hired are retread coaches anyways. Like
Right.
Dan Bottles was a retread, Lane Lambert was a retread, Dave Haxtell was a retread, Anna Wooden Plank on the bench. It's
Just
just
cycling through, yeah.
yeah, that's yeah.
But
Um,
they're a team that I would love to see just make it like an NCAA hire if Lambert doesn't work out. Like go after somebody new, go after like a European coach. Screw it. Like let's bring some more European guys in here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Just
that could
make
be
sure you
fun.
don't repeat the story of Pierre Kramer. Then we're in trouble.
Right, right, of course.
Yeah, 'cause, like you don't want a coach that comes in there and then you realize, oh wait, he can't speak English. So
That is true. That is true. I mean, it depends on the coach. There are a few in the SHL that are quite solid. Like you said, you kind of need to have a pulse with the players, and we've kind of seen Lambert kind of go in and out when it comes to that, at least. But they're a fascinating watch, man. Especially when you compare it to Vegas. I mean, it's almost completely different situations, obviously in terms of
yeah,
like the expansion rules and everything. And I think Seattle kind of got dealt a bad hand there with how much teams just wisened up completely. But I think they're a team I just want to see kind of embrace that youth wave. Just give them all the minutes, give them all the opportunity, because I think at the end of the day, that's where you sink or swim, really.
yeah. I say Berkeley Catton to mention. You obviously mentioned Ryan Meneers. Berkeley Catton's been doing pretty well.
Hmm.
Obviously, scored his first 2 goals against the Bruins. I think he scored one last night or two
I think
nights
he
ago
got an
against the Rangers.
assist. I can't remember,
Yeah,
but
but
he's awesome.
he's been
He's sick.
he's been doing better as well. So anyway, I kind of want to mention the Rangers. I kind of want to talk about them because All My Rangers is probably one of the bigger soap operas in hockey these
Oh,
past few years. It's just yeesh.
always. I wh- Whenever you think that team's gonna do better than they should, they just find a way to disappoint you in the end. I mean, I'm not even really that surprised. I predicted them to get to the playoffs this year, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be top in the Metro Division or anything.
Yeah.
But my goodness, man, they just continue to be the worst versions of themselves. Poor Igor Shesterkin time and time again, year after year. But I think in a lot of ways, it just comes back to the draft mistakes, comes back to the lack of much speed on that team at all, especially on the forward group, which I think just continues to be a weakness for them. And now, they're like what, like second last in the East or something, and now they're trying to go after like a Kiefer Sherwood without any like an extension or anything. I'm like, what is the plan? What is the what is the blueprint here?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like they're setting themselves for any bit of success besides, hey, we might get to the first round and then lose in 6 games because we're allowing 40 shots a game or something. And Igor Shesterkin can't save all 40 of them because we can't score any goals either. It just they're a weird one, and I feel like they're a team that they're the Rangers are one of those teams where they focused so much on trying to build out the depth of that roster without having the top. They forgot about the top end, especially on the forward group, and I think that's kind of sunk them in a lot of ways. But they're just sad to talk about, man, because they should be so much better than they are.
Yeah, especially the talent they have. I mean, of course, I don't know why JT Miller is your captain, but that's
Yeah, yeah, maybe could have used I that was the most predictable loss of a trade you could ever see. Like, but both of those, every team that touches JT Miller is worse off for it. So I'm very glad that the US are going to have them on the Olympic roster for sure.
yeah. Um, oh, man. I mean, I kind of want to get a little bit into the baseball side of things because I mean, also this is just a sports journal thing question. What would you say are like your top 3 favorite moments of your fandom in your lifetime?
Ooh. That's a good question because there hasn't been a lot.
Yeah,
uh because like the Rangers have one championship. That's all I've known for the major sports.
yeah.
The Corey
So make sure to
Seager.
tag you immediately after that happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Corey Seager home run in the World Series, that's gotta be probably like
Oh
number
yeah,
top 3 for sure. I would say this is a deep cut. The Dennis or the Yoel Kiviranta OT goal against Colorado, of
yep.
course,
Then
will
the bubble
always
against
be
Colin.
that'll always be like storybook ending type of stuff. And that whole playoff in 2021 was just unbelievably good.
Yeah,
I miss those days when it was just
yeah. I
the
mean,
only thing you could watch was that.
yeah. I do remember those days. It was basically like for me personally, because I like for like the spring, like May, June, July, something like that. It was basically yeah, like golf on the weekends, NASCAR on Sunday, and that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the NHL comes here as like a haven for everybody. But
Yeah,
that's what I love the most about it. And then I'd probably say in terms of like the maybe like third place, I'll probably go Teddy Stiga for the World Juniors for the U.S. last year in that overtime against Finland. That just rocked. The fact that I will never forget about this. The fact that I tweeted right before that overtime. I'm thinking Teddy Stiga is going to score this goal. 0 goals in the tournament, by the way. 0. I just had that gut feeling, and it ends up happening. I could not even believe
yeah.
it. It was wild.
I yeah, I never I didn't actually tweet this out, but it's kind of like a prediction thing. I was like, in Game 3 of the World Series, I was dragging on and on. I'm like, I don't know why, but this is all the makings of a Freddie Freeman walk-off home run.
And then there you go. There you go.
And then there it goes in the 18th. Of course, I dozed off in like the 17th inning. It's just like, dang it, I miss history again like next month.
But that's the thing is that the rest of your day, you're already up at like, or at least I. That was the thing too. Is I was like out that night, and then I came back, and the game's still going. Like, what is happening? Like, I,
Yeah,
I expected that to be over like 2 hours ago, but we're still here somehow. That whole world. I mean,
yeah.
thank gosh I'm not a Blue Jays fan because that would have scarred me for life. That whole World
Oh god,
Series.
that series was just torture.
Unbelievable. But for a
It
neutral
was
fan, though, one of the best to ever
usual,
do it.
and it was one of the best
Holy.
of all time.
And as a Blue Jays hater, one of the best to ever do it. It was incredible.
Still haven't gotten over 2015 and 2016, have
No,
you?
no. Well, I like slightly, but not like too much.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah.
hate any
It's
MLB
just
team
like
besides the Astros, but yeah,
I still remember that Texas Rangers Legacy of Failure video after the third era, just like, what?
fair.
What? What? How are you taking a piss this badly?
It was crazy, dude. It was great. That was like peak of my
Yeah,
fandom too, and I was just like, well, thrown in the towel. It's over.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously 10 years later, the Blue Jays found a way to break my heart, but that's
Right. I'm so sorry.
I still will take that. I'd still take that season over missing the playoffs yet again,
Oh,
especially with that like
absolutely. You guys had some
especially with that
unbelievable
stretch in
moments.
September. Yeah,
Mhm.
that stretch in September is one of the probably one of the favorite moments in my life because like the Seahawks were winning a bunch as well. Of course, now the number one seed. The Mariners that won like 17 of 18 in September, including the three-game sweep of the Astros in Houston.
Love that.
Um,
Love that all day.
which yeah, it's interesting because obviously they Houston has a train track up top of the left
Mhm.
field, and so I reached out to a friend called Bearman who does like a bunch of edits. I'm like, hey, could you basically do this highlights of that series, but with the runaway theme from Thomas and Friends? And he
Fitting.
posted that. It's just like the Houston Astros Unbecoming of Us Runaway Edition.
Anytime
It
anytime
is
there's
so good.
Astros hate, I will be there no matter what.
Yeah, of course, he last year showed an interview. And it was like on Fox 26 where they were interviewing some like I think it was like an Astros reporter or Astros announcer or something like that, where they were previewing the wild card series against the Tigers,
Right.
and they're gonna at the start it's like I won't get too cocky, but then starts to surprise like we can win without Rodon and stuff like that, and then there's someone who and then later on the reporter goes uh, next week the Astros will be taking on, and then the guy goes, "Does it really matter?" And then the report goes, "Are we getting ahead of ourselves here?" And then the guy goes, "Oh, it's the Astros. Come on, it is our God-given right to be in the American League Championship Series." And of course, they haven't won a playoff game since that moment.
Love it. Love it. I mean, nothing good should ever come to Astros fans in general, so I'm very happy. Very, very happy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a few that are like decent, but most of them online, and particularly the ones in the YouTube section, are like, "Well, the Bears are a poverty franchise with no pennants," and then is that September stretch they just bullied him off the internet.
It's the best feeling, eh? It's the best feeling. Ugh, I love it.
Yeah, but, yeah. I also something to discuss with playoffs and stuff because I am doing
Right,
my
right.
first NFL playoff game this Saturday with the Seahawks against the 49ers. So very excited for
Ooh,
that.
that'll be
Have
sweet.
you been to any playoff games yourself yet?
So I went to I can't remember if this was 1 or 2 years ago. I went to the Oilers versus Stars game 3. Um and I'm pretty sure we lost that game. Wasn't great. Uh considering the Stars and Oilers are always pretty lopsided for Edmonton. But
Yeah,
that's actually the only playoff game I've done because again, like the last few years have been I've usually been very ready with like playoff streams and everything. So I wasn't really doing
yeah,
wasn't really going to games much. But it's also the thing of like I kind of would rather watch it at home and be able to chill off my stress in the ways that I can rather than being there and being in it and being like inundated with all the stress and all the anxiety about it all.
yeah. It's a
Uh
lot different. I went to game two, the ALDS against Detroit. It's a lot different than watching on TV.
yes. You can't escape it. You're just there and you're in it. You're like there's no way to escape anything. Which, it can be fun. I just think for me, I also just like watching sports at home because then I can just watch as much as I can and
Yeah,
also just rewind too. But at the end of the day, I do want to go to more if the Stars, which I think they will, hopefully, not choke the rest of the season away. I'm hoping to get to one at least, but we'll see how it goes. I actually to speak on you and the Kraken, I actually will be going to Stars versus Kraken. I think in March. I think it's like early March, mid March, something like that. So I'll be live on the ground reporting on that one.
nice. All right. I was mentioning the and related to the Stars Oilers series. I mean, I've asked you a question I think during the free agency stream, I believe, in regards to Pete DeBoer, and he is generally the Mike Tomlin in the sense of I feel like he makes a blood demon, like in the sense of if you want to make the playoffs, he's your coach. If you want to win game sevens, he's your coach. If you want to win the whole thing, look somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah,
I just want to know thoughts on basically kind of the firing and stuff because
yeah.
I feel like it's kind of needed.
Yeah, it was super strange because at the time I was obviously there's so many conflicting emotions because we had all the rumors surrounding Ottinger and how that poll happened. But at the
Oh
end of
yeah,
the day, like I don't think it's so hard because confidence is such a critical part with goaltenders, and you don't really want to strain that confidence or that relationship. But at the end of the day, it was a game on the line type of situation. Andre allowed the first two goals and the first two shots, whatever it was, and
yeah.
wasn't really
Well,
good at
I
all
don't
throughout the
think
rest of the
really either
series.
goals were his fault.
Yeah, that's not necessarily, but you still need something, especially to start out the game. You want your goaltender to
Yeah,
at least come up big. It was just one of those hard things though, because it's kind of how you view goaltending because if it's more confidence based, then I think kind of putting your goaltender in that position is not a situation you want to have. But at the end of the day, you were on the season was on the line. Whether it was Andre's fault or not, everybody on the team played horrible to start out that game, and it was kind of just
oh
a
god,
brutal position to be in. Whether it was, like, fireable enough, quite frankly, I don't even think that incident was the main thing that led to it. I think it was just they have gotten so close for so long and just haven't been able to get over that hump, which has always been
yeah,
the DeBoer thing, has always been it.
that's
Whether
always
whether Galutzin's gonna be better or not, I still have my doubts because I think for everything that DeBoer
yeah,
wasn't, they at least were a team that 5 on 5 and in terms of their defensive play was rock solid at times. Galutzin's Stars are a lot more power play reliant, a lot more finishing, a lot more goaltending reliant, and I don't know how that's going to factor into the playoffs, but we'll see. I mean,
yeah,
we've seen how in critical moments power plays can be so important. Just ask Edmonton, right? So I think
yeah.
it'll be very intriguing this playoffs to see if that's what they maybe needed or something. But I still think DeBoer is like again, like you said, if you're looking for a playoff like for a team like a Buffalo or like a
He's
Utah,
kind of
just
like
hire him now.
he's
Like,
like a less sympathetic version of Marty Shotman. You want to get to the playoffs, you want him as your coach. If you
mhm.
want to win a championship, you don't want him as your head coach.
That's yeah, exactly, and that's why I think he's like that perfect like middle road coach. Like he's not going to get you there ultimately, but hey, if you need to like get out of the bottom of the basement, there are certainly worse options. I'm kind of surprised Columbus didn't actually hire him. Maybe it was a
Yeah,
money thing, I don't know, but I feel like that could have been a better fit than Bonus. Bonus just seems like
yeah,
we just need to get a different guy who plays, like, the same system as Evison, like, I just I don't I I don't wanna get back to Columbus, they confuse me.
yeah. Of course, Columbus has made worse coaching decisions.
Yes.
Regarding yes, of course. Do not even get me started with the Mike Babcock saga.
Mike Babcock, like, that their run between Pascal Vincent and Mike Babcock is generationally bad. I don't even understand how that happened.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it was like I remember comparing him to the Tony La Russa hire when the White Sox were on back. I'm like, I was being too generous back then.
Yes, very much so. Babcock is one of those you just need to you put him back, put him in the museum. It's just it's not gonna happen.
He's a
Just
dinosaur now.
just stop it. It's not working out.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, um, trying to think if there's any other thing that I have
No, you're good. I
left.
mean, I probably only have like about 5 more minutes ish until I need to run, but yeah, if you have
All
anything
right.
else for me, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all that I have. So just wanted wanted to let you know where you can find the people. So
Yeah. I mean, I of course, I'm Graph. You can find me at Graviteh on YouTube or on Twitter. Just search up the name, EH at the end instead of a Y. Or just search up like Grab Hockey and that works, of course. I mean, I could just talk about Berkeley Catton for the rest of the 5 minutes that we have or whatever, because he's sick. Um, we could talk about
yeah, he's
Kraken
probably
prospects if you want. I actually that'd be a fun question. Like, do you have like any Kraken
yeah.
prospect
I
questions or
never
anything?
really hear. Yeah, I honestly don't really pay too much attention to the like Kraken prospects.
Hmm.
The only thing related to the Kraken process was when Dan Bilesma was doing well there. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
well, I
yeah.
guess if he's doing well in the NHL, then I guess it works in the NHL. But as we see in cases like Jeff Blashill, sometimes the AHL doesn't translate to the NHL.
Yeah, it's a little bit hit or miss because you kind of have you obviously have way different rosters, but the AHL is a lot more like just pure defensive, and it makes it a lot harder to score there. So it maybe for like defensive guys it works out, but again, it's not like oh if he's going to be doing in the great in the AHL as Bilesma has told us, is not a recipe for success necessarily. But I mean, they still have a lot of guys that I think are very intriguing and will be a lot of fun. I just again give them the ice time Seattle, and then we'll talk. We'll talk once that happens.
Yes, exactly. Give him actual time development. Don't just shove him out like bomb 6 minutes like the Penguins did with Jared McCann.
Yeah, that would not be ideal. Or like what was it like with the Islanders
It's like
and
Shane Wright on the
Niederreiter?
third line. Yeah,
Right.
Shane Wright on the third line with Chandler Stevens at the top. It's like, what are we doing here?
Guy, don't even get me started on Chandler Stevenson. That man, he might be my like
Hey,
he might be the like if I'm trying to think of the player style that I would be the opposite towards wanting, if that makes sense. Like somebody that Chandler Stevenson would be the type of player that I would not even touch on my team. I get that he puts up points, but he's one of those players that I do not care about the points with. Whenever I watch him, I'm just like, what do you do?
it's in the
What do you
calories.
do? Exactly.
All right, so I think
Perfect.
that's
Yeah.
all. So if you guys enjoyed, feel free to hit like and subscribe. And yeah, see you on the next one.